students are very much clear that, okay, which course I want to pursue. Some students are very clear which career I want to pursue. Both the pathways are perfectly right. Whether you go from course to career through a university, or you are very much sure about the career and then you try to analyze it backwards, that which course do I need to do and in which university. When we are making these informed choices, it's better to understand that how the world of work is changing. So world of work is changing not only because of the AI or technology, but because of the many other factors, like the human machine environment relationship. Because whatever career you opt for, you will be dealing with the digital world, you will be dealing with the machines as per se, and you have to take care of the environment. If you look at the various industries nowadays, everybody is talking about the eco-friendly environment, whether they are into computers, whether they are into technology, or whether they are into designing, whichever industry you talk about, everybody is taking care of that. And as far as AI is also concerned, it's not that AI is important only for people who want to pursue, sciences or computer science. AI has entered every career. Even the conventional careers need to be seen, need to be analyzed through the AI lens. That how that particular career has changed. Like, the best and the easiest, the simplest example is of teaching. Teaching is not only chalk and board now. All the students and have already experienced this. Data literacy is very important. Cognitive flexibility, because um, our students, our children are entering a world which will require them to change the careers 4 to 5 times. I'm not talking about jobs, I'm talking about the change of career. And I'm sure all the parents who are sitting here, some parents might have had some shift. I myself, I started my career as a psychology teacher, as a school counselor, moving to how to incorporate artificial intelligence or technology in counseling. Now we have all the therapists, which are AI enabled, and now I'm working with the university. So maybe within the same dimension, same area, but the change of career is required for future, and for that one needs to have cognitive flexibility. And we can see that as it is, the boundaries between the physical, social, and the biological world are very blurring out, in the sense that um, again, if you want to be a computer scientist, you cannot be a computer scientist, a good computer scientist, if you don't know about the human psychology. Because from designing the website to designing a program, you need to understand human psychology. Only then you can design the best program. There is nanotechnology, there is the neurosciences, there are so many medical researches which are happening now. World Economic Forum is talking about the virtual patients. They don't need the real patients now. So the world is changing to such an extent in terms of the work culture, switching career, and also we are entering the gig economy. Now is not the time when the student enters one particular job and gets retirement from there, because in gig economy, it is more on the project basis. Industries have already started saying that we don't need confirmed employees, but we need people to work on the projects, complete the project and move on. So there are no confirmed jobs now. So many industries have already announced that whatever work can be done from home, like Microsoft, Google, Facebook, all these people have announced, with COVID or without COVID, whatever work can be handled from home, please sit at home and do the work. So that means, think about a dream of a student who has thought of being a computer scientist and maybe working in one of these companies. So now his dream is going to change. He has to adjust that, maybe I will not be working in that kind of office, maybe I need to work from home. So you need to manage yourself then, right? So the work culture, the changing of work culture is also introduced by the changing behavior of today's millennials. So today's millennials are not only talking about the conventional work culture, their attitude towards life, their their behavior is totally different. And also, when we talk about the changing world, it's important to understand how we are moving towards Industry 4.0. Industry 1, Industry 2, Industry 3, they came up with their own kinds of revolution. Industry 4.0, when we say AI, machine learning, deep learning have a major role to play, even if you are doing psychology, for example, you have to understand how psychology is related to machine learning and deep learning and AI. And we have already, industries have already started talking about Industry 5.0, which talks about humanizing the technology. So, and if you look at these the words said by these people, by say Dr. Sriram Rajramani, as you can see, or Dr. This Mr. Sanchit from the chief executive of Greyhound, or Dr. Manish Gupta, director Google Research, all these people have come to the consensus when they were when I was talking to in one of their lectures at our university. They clearly mentioned that now, even if we are a technological company, although AI is coming up, we need people who come from the liberal arts background, who have the multidisciplinary knowledge, who understand that how to integrate knowledge from different kinds of fields, because again the changing world of work is there, right? So there are, because of this changing world of work, there are new jobs which are will be created in this unpredictable and uncertain world. The jobs which we might not be aware of right now, they still need to be created. And it's important to understand that when our students are entering this new world of work, then are they prepared? Are they prepared for these new careers which are not yet being invented? If these careers are not being invented, then which course they should do, to be prepared? So that means it is very, very important to have a set of transferable skills, to have some kind of broad-based knowledge, to have that pragmatic approach towards life, so that whatever knowledge they have gained in their education, they are able to apply in that new world of work. Because the new world of work requires not only your degree, not only your education, but also a special skill set. Because when we are talking about this uncertainty, then in this uncertainty, students feel more anxious, parents feel more anxious, that how will I be, adjusted? So to understand this ambiguity, one needs to be resilient. When the new world of work is there, then the new problems will be there. And to solve these new problems, you need to be creative enough. You need to apply your critical thinking along with creative thinking to solve new problems. And for that, it's important to be a lifelong learner, because if the world is changing so exponentially, you need to be updated with every part of the world, whatever is changing. Another important thing which as parents we always teach our kids is the emotional intelligence. Maybe we don't teach them as a curriculum, but yes, in the life is all about emotional quotient. So although AI is creeping in, although the other skills are very, very important, but we should not forget that whatever work can be done by robot will be done by robot. But humans have their speciality, and their USP is the EQ. So EQ is something, which all the industries are looking for. And as parents, I think it's very, very important for us to make our students understand that it's all this school life, we students learn to compete, either to compete with others, or either to or to compete with themselves. But when they actually enter the world of work, industries and the CEOs ask for the collaboration, whether you are able to collaborate with the other departments. So no competition is required, but collaboration is required. So much of diversity is there because of the mobility, because so many people are moving into different countries, different states. So it's important to embrace that diversity, and that you can do only when you empathize. Communication, very, very important, because the whole scenario of communication is changing. Today we are communicating on a different mode. Different modes of communication are required, whether through emails or through WhatsApp or through social media, the social marketing. and also communicating not only people from your own discipline but across different disciplines. I give you a very simple example. Suppose if you want your child to be a great economist, because many times students say, oh, economics is very much in demand, so I want to be an economist. Now suppose, as an economist, if somebody asks you how will you predict the economic growth of India in the next 5 years, now what do you need to do? You need to have knowledge about various disciplines. You need to communicate with the public, the government officials, to know the public health policies, that when are we going to have a control over COVID, what kind of health policies are there. You need to understand the psychology of different cultures. Why is it that in some part of the country people are wearing masks and not wearing masks in the other parts. You need to understand that when vaccines are going to be available. So all this knowledge will only help you in predicting the economic growth of India in the next 10 years. So although economics is offered as major in many universities now, also when you're talking about this major. Now, suppose the same child, if he wants to pursue economics as major, then what should he take into account while choosing a university? So let's try to understand that if world of work is changing so exponentially, if all this education along with the skills are needed, then how can I give the best education to my child? How can I choose the best university for my child? It's very important to understand the academic culture of a particular university. Like all of you are coming from different schools, maybe different schools follow the CBSE curriculum, but the way that curriculum is being imparted is different in different schools. That is what decided your choice of school. Similarly, universities have different kind of academic culture. Like what kind of majors do they offer? Do they offer major and minor combination? Are they offering the latest courses which can help my child for future? What kind of teaching pedagogies they are trying to emphasize, whether they are emphasizing on teaching methodologies or the learning process, because for a student the learning process is more important. The faculty, I remember those times when we used to choose universities because of the faculty. So what kind of faculty is there? Because they are the ones who are going to educate your child, right? Then location and safety, related to today's scenario, that whether the university is taking care of the COVID situation, whether my child will be safe, whether there are medical facilities, whether there are all the facilities on campus, where will he stay, what are the residential facilities provided, whether it is safe in terms of if the university is in the city or outside the city, and what kind of safety system do they have, what kind of research opportunity my child will get, because today students have all kinds of knowledge at one click. So they want to do something more. So learning only theory will not help. We have to convert that information into knowledge, and for that it's important to have that kind of academic culture where the research aptitude is being facilitated. That what kind of, and especially suppose if the student wants to apply for master's program abroad, or he wants to do sometimes students want to do more of research, because only then they can come up with various innovative strategies. So what is the student teacher ratio? Because some students feel very comfortable when they get that kind of individual attention from the teachers, because that actually turns those professors into mentors. So sometimes that gives that kind of conducive environment, the learning environment where the students can learn best. Then we also need to see that whether that university is offering some kind of support to my child, for as far as the internships are concerned, as far as placements are concerned. If suppose if there is a university where they still have a choice to choose their major, or if they want to choose their major, change their major, then do they have that kind of support system? Because internships and immersive learning experiences are very, very important for the higher ed, because that is the main objective of the higher education. Because that bridges the gap between the education should be such that bridges the gap between the education and the employability. So what kind of career services are provided there? Will my child get a global kind of experience? Because we are talking about global citizenship today. So will he get a global experience? Will he get an opportunity to maybe study in some other universities also, maybe doing a course, maybe doing a summer program? And what kind of student life? Because I think when I always say that if you want your students to have beautiful colors like a butterfly, allow them to struggle like a caterpillar. So but who is going to give them that kind of mentorship? Their physical health and mental health both are very, very important to be successful in life. So what kind of student life are they going to have? What kind of diversity they are going to see on campus? What kind of experience they are going to have, exposure they are going to have? That is, I think, very, very important. So this is a good checklist which all the parents can keep in mind while choosing a university for your student. And I will stop here. And here I would like to invite my colleague Vikram. And parents, please keep this, and maybe you can take a screenshot of this slide. And now I will request Vikram to talk about university, Krea University, that what is the role of Krea University on all these parameters. And all the parents and students are requested to keep on writing your questions in the chat box. We will keep answering. And if you have any further queries, which are very, very specific and individual, just to tell you, I will request Chirantan to post one link in the chat box. You people can fix an appointment on individual basis where I will be talking to you or talking to the child in case you want any kind of individual counseling.
Yeah,
Yes, Vikram,
thank
over to
you.
you.
Thank you so much, Meenu. And thank you really for putting that foundation for us on how should even parents think about university education and students think about university education. A few clarifications. So actually, the chat box is disabled. So what we'll do is we will send you the link to register a one-on-one counseling session with Meenu in an email post the session. And you can do that. And for your questions at the end of the session, so we're planning to end our presentations by 7:30 so that the last half an hour that we have, we really spend on taking questions from all of you. I'm sure you have many, many questions. So the next part of the presentation, I'm happy to take you through, very basic introductory level things from the university. I'm sure when you applied to Krea, you've already done a ton of research. I know we have a very informed set of parents, and whenever I speak to some of you, I realize that you're very, very, very informed and researched. But let me take you through some of the basic things that we do at Krea and how do we fulfill the parameters that Meenu spoken about, so that you're in a better position to maybe ask further questions or to be able to take a better decision. Thank you. So many of you, as you're aware, Krea University was launched in 2018. The first undergraduate batch, of course, started their academic journey in 2019. So your children who have been accepted to Krea will join the third batch, the third incoming batch at Krea. So they will be the cohort of 2024. So many of you might know us as a very young university, but let me also tell you a little bit about the legacy that we have. So some of you might be aware, there is a body called IFMR, which stands for Institute for Financial Management and Research. This is an organization that was launched about 50 years ago by one of the founders of ICICI Bank, Mr. Vagul. And at that time when IFMR started, it was probably one of the first of its kind research initiative in Asia. And IFMR today has research centers across India, and around the world. They have, so those of you might have heard of Professor Abhijit Banerjee, who's recently won a Nobel Prize in Economical Sciences. Most of his work was under a center called JPAL, which is the Abdul Jamal Poverty Action Lab. And the JPAL Asia Center is actually based in IFMR. There is EPOD, that's policy design, that used to work with Harvard Kennedy Business School. Now they work with Yale. There is LEAD, which is leveraging evidence for access and development. There is iWage, that is initiative for what works for advancement of women and girls. And they work with several partners, including the UN Foundation and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. CDFI, Center for Development of Financial Inclusion. So all of these are centers are under IFMR, and they work with not only the best universities of the world, but they also work with governments, both state and central governments, to give research inputs for policy making and decision making. So IFMR really has a very strong legacy and structure of research. IFMR also has a graduate school of business that has been running for the past 20 years. And they have some of the most unique MBA programs that are offered in the country. And of course, the School of Interwoven Arts and Sciences, which is the SIAS, where all your children have been accepted, is the school that currently offers undergraduate students, but very soon, maybe in a couple of years, in I think the first year, it's 2023-24 academic year, we will launch our MA and MSc programs as well. To talk about, I'm sure this is one of the slides that most of you would be familiar about and that might have caught your attention first. So these are people who are backing Krea. Some of the people who are backing Krea. So Krea is a fully philanthropic university. We are based on the model of collective philanthropy. So we don't have the concept of founders. We have council members, and these, as you might see, are not just business entrepreneurs, not just industrialists. I think we have a the most eclectic mix of people. We have entrepreneurs, thought leaders, scholars, researchers, artists who've come together to start Krea with the vision to create, to prepare humanity for an unpredictable world and to create ethical, purposeful leaders for the 21st century. Some of you might have heard of people like Dr. Raghuram Rajan, Anand Mahendra, Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, who's really, I think, a pioneer in life sciences research in India, or people like John H. who's the longest serving provost of Stanford University, Manjul Bhargava, who's a Fields Medal winner in mathematics. People like that actually they form the governing council and the academic council at Krea. We've recently also added more to our strengths. So we've had Mr. Rajiv Memani, who's the chairman of Ernst & Young India, join us as the part of the governing council. Mr. Raghu Sundaram, Professor Raghu Sundaram, who's the dean of the NYU Stern School of Business, is joined the academic council. And this is probably the newest, is Mr. Ram Kumar Ramamurthy, who's the former chairman and managing director Cognizant, has joined Krea as a pro vice chancellor and for professional learning at Krea. So I think we continue to add stalwarts to the leadership team at Krea, and this will continue to happen over the years. I think and when I was talking to some of the parents, I said that industry obviously is realizing that they'll have to create the kind of talent that they want to hire in their company. So I think more and more people, accomplished thought leaders and change makers, are joining the education industry, especially the higher education industry. I think one of the biggest advantages for your children to come into Krea is a strong pedagogy that we follow, which is this term called interwoven learning. You will, now that you're a part of the Krea family, you will continue to hear this term of interwoven learning very often. And we pride into actually pioneering this model. This actually interweaves the arts and the sciences. It interweaves the Eastern and Western perspectives. It interweaves the industry and academia in many ways. So all these people who are part of the academic council actually sat together and thought about, what should we prepare? What should a graduate be prepared for in the future. And we put together guiding principles that define everything that we do at Krea, right? So things like writing intensive. So, communication, as Meenu said, is going to be one of the most paramount, is going to be of paramount importance. So all the programs at Krea, of course, when you do philosophy and literature, you will have writing everywhere. But in Krea, even when you do one of the pure sciences, like, or applied sciences, if you do biology or computer science, you will still have writing courses. How do you do academic writing? How do you do research writing? All our programs, of course, are very, very research based. There is reading, writing, comprehension that is involved, in everything that we do at Krea. Ethics is, again, a very important part of what we do. We've partnered with the Dalai Lama Center for, ethics and transformative values, which is based at several universities, but we've partnered with the MIT one, and Professor Tenzin Priyadarshi, who's the head of the MIT Center, is actually a visiting faculty to Krea. So ethics, again, a very, very strong part of our curriculum. Data analytics, I think data is today's new language. So whether you're doing computer science or mathematics, or you're doing philosophy or politics or economics, data is integral part of everything that we do, or immersive learning, or even making children, comfortable with uncertainty. If the last 8 months has taught us anything, it is that the world is going to be more and more unpredictable. So how do you, as a graduate, become comfortable with uncertainty? How do you do when problems are not defined very well? How do you do in that kind of an environment, is what is being built into the programs that we do at Krea. The School of Interwoven Arts and Sciences, of course, offers two programs currently, the BA Honours and the BSc Honours. Both of these are 3-year undergraduate degrees. There is an optional 4th year of advanced studies that is available for you. Of course, the national education policy now talks about having 4-year programs, and we still don't know whether next year we'll be able to offer 4-year programs. It all depends on how the policy is implemented, how much clarity do we get, and how soon do we get it. But even if it becomes a 4-year program, there'll always be an exit option at 3 years. So there's not too much that's going to change at Krea, because we are already robust in many, many ways. I think all of you, when you come into the first year, and your children, when they come into the first year, they have a first year which is common for everyone, regardless of you've come from IB or A levels or Cambridge or foundation schools, or whether you've come from sciences or commerce or humanities, doesn't matter. Everybody goes through a set of common foundation courses. And this again ties back to our interwoven learning pedagogy. So we're not defining students into sciences, humanities, and commerce. Everybody has to go through courses like mathematical reasoning. How do you think like a mathematician? So it makes students comfortable with numbers. You have subjects like game theory and probability to make you think like a mathematician. You have scientific reasoning, you have creative expression, literature and the arts as core subjects. And then you have skill courses. So introduction to topics of computer science. So everybody has to be comfortable with technology, with the way things are changing. So these are introductory courses, and there is a lot of support available to your children, if they have any issues. So all of you, all of you have cleared it. So whoever the admissions committee will identify will have to go through some of the bridge programs a little bit early in the year, before you start your classes, so that you're comfortable with these courses. And these everybody has to go through in the first year. So first year, even though you have identified some priorities or some options for you in the application form, those are not hard and fast. So after the first year, once you go through all of this, you can decide on what major or minor you would want to do at Krea. So once you complete the first year, you have to take one major. So the only thing that the university will mandate students to do is to do one major. Minor is optional, concentrations are optional, everything else is optional, but a major is mandatory, because the major will determine the degree that you get. So if you take economics, you get a BA honors in economics. If you take psychology, you get a BSc honors in psychology, and likewise. What does a major mean for many of you, right? So major is about 30 to 35% of your degree comprises of the subjects of your major. So they can take one major. And when they take a major, depending on whether it's in the sciences or social sciences or humanities, they have to do between 12 to 14 courses. in that major to get a major, right? Along with that, they can club it with one of the minors that we offer. So for the batch of 2020, these are the majors that were offered. But for all of your children who will pick a major in 2022, that's 2 years from now, there will be more majors that will be offered. Currently, these are the majors that are launched, but we will add to this list. Currently, we offer about 15 minors. So students can pick any major and any minor, regardless of what background they've come from, right? So you can take economics and politics, you can do psychology and biology, you can do computer science and chemistry, whatever major and minor combination that you would like to do, you can take those. So minor is half of a major. So if you do 14 in a major, you do 7 in a minor, or 8 in a minor. There are also something called joint majors that are offered. So if you want to study two subjects in equal proportion, then you do joint majors. Currently, and these are predefined by the university. So students can't pick any other joint major than the 4 that we've launched. And we will, again, as I said, continue to launch more joint majors as well. Currently, we offer physics and chemistry as a joint major. Economics and environmental studies is a very, very popular major. History and politics for all of you who are looking at policy and international relations, this is a good major. And literature in the arts for all the creative students who want to get into journalism, writing, art, that's another joint major. There's also something called concentrations that are available. So suppose you take economics as a major and you like 2 more subjects, like you like politics and you also like history. So you don't want to do a minor in any of those. So you can take just three subjects in both, 3 or 4 subjects in politics and 3 or 4 subjects in history, and make them as concentrations. So you can do 1 major and 2 concentrations. So, I'm not going to go into more of this because there's like a ton of possibilities that are available. Another thing that I want to tell here is that we have academic mentorship that is available to all your children. When they come into Krea from the day one, they will have an academic mentor assigned to them. And each of those academic mentors will have maximum of 10 or 15 students who are they are mentoring. And they are the faculty members who your children can go to if they have any questions, if they want to just have a chat, if they want to understand trajectories of their subjects, what should they choose, what major, what minor, what subjects. So that's a huge advantage when they come into Krea, that they have an academic mentorship. This is just a picture that I put of how a major looks like. So this is an example of an economics major that's offered at Krea. So within a major, you have required courses and possible electives. So suppose economics, you're required to do mandatory 13 subjects to get a major, right? So in that required courses, as you can see, there are 8 required courses. So 8 of these you will have to do, but you need 13, right? So you need 5 more. Those 5 you can pick out of the possible electives. So possible electives you will be offered at maybe 10, 15, depending on the subject. So you will have an option to customize your major also, right? It's not, everything is not fixed. And this is available for all the majors and minors on the Krea website. You can go and have a look at it. There are also job roles and organizations which will hire you as an economist or where you can work with. So this is a very detailed information that is available on the Krea website. In terms of faculty, I'm sure, again, this is one piece where many of you might have spent time already, but we have really some of the change makers who are teaching at Krea. We have people like, John Matthew, who's done a double PhD. His first PhD is in biology from Harvard and another PhD from Old Dominion. Or people like Vishnu Mahapatra, who's a political scientist from Oxford, but he's also a poet. Or Gaurav Raina, who's, he's been instrumental in designing the math and computer science curriculum at Krea. He's from Cambridge. He's also the head of the Mobile Payments Forum of India. So many of you who use the Bheem app, he was the one who was instrumental in designing that app. We have Anil Srinivasan, who's a pianist. He's worked with A.R. Rahman and Vidya Raja, but he's done his MPhil from Columbia in psychology. We have Amrita Narayan, who's she's from Homi Baba Fellow, and she is a faculty for psychology. Ramchandra Guha, who's very renowned historian, or Pranab Bardhan. And these are just the 15 that we put here. We have more faculty members that are available on the website. Many of these faculty members are full-time and they live on campus. we've continued to add strength, faculty strength to the existing faculty team. So this year we've had people like Gaurav Ghosh, who's a visiting faculty for economics from Penn State. He's joined as a faculty with Vivek Bandari. So we continue to add faculty members. Last year, we've added about 19 more to our list. And the next year, which is by the time your children come into the classrooms in August, we are looking at adding about 30 more faculty members to the Krea team. So there's a lot more excitement in terms of people who are joining Krea, and we'll keep you posted about this. May I now actually invite Kala, who is the Director for Communications for Partnerships and Career Services, to take us through the university partner, because I think a lot of parents have questions around university partnerships, opportunities for students to for a global exposure, and also career services. So we've requested Kala to actually come in here. Kala, over to you.
Yes. Can you hear me, Vikram?
Yes.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Wonderful that you're all here. As Vikram said, I mean, I've always been amazed at how competitive Krea's entry requirements are, and it's congratulations once again to all of you. And equally nervous as parents. I mean, I went through something like this 5 or 6 years ago when my child was beginning to consider. So all those pointers that Meenu put out, we just did that multiplied by 10 across a number of universities. So great tips there from Meenu as well. What I'm going to talk through very quickly for you is, you know, one thing is to understand what skills are required. On one end, you understand this is what the university offers in terms of academic potential. So at the end of the day, when the child is actually progressing to go into the real world, you've got the challenge about how do I now evidence some of the skills that this university has given me into immersive learning experience that actually prove how do I prove that I've got collaboration skills? How do I prove that I've got some of these skills? So my office primarily looks at two areas: partnerships and career services, and I'll be kind of talking through some of that. Let me first touch on partnerships, and to quickly let you know something that we do at Krea, and by now you know we do everything differently at Krea, and what we do very differently is also partnerships. What we decided as a university to do is not really create a laundry list of a number of partners saying these are all number 10 in the world and 2 in the world. We decided to partner with institutions that are best in areas of practice. Right, and that's really the approach we went with. For instance, if somebody was interested in policy and data, which really is a career of the future, where would you rather study that? Would you rather go to the Harris School of Public Policy, which is rated very high for something like that? If somebody was interested in environment, where would they go to study, progressively on that? Would you just go to the #1 university in the world, or would you rather go study for the #1 university recognized for environment education? So much of our partnerships are very structured based on the areas of expertise. Our partnerships are also very different, which we'll touch on is, again, it's not one size fits all. So when we talk about partnerships, some partnerships are about, can I go outside and study? Yes. Not every student has the capability to go out and study, and hence you have to work the partnership to bring internationalization into Krea and not just about students going outside. So our partnerships are across whether you want to study abroad during your summer, whether this is visiting professors actually coming in to do some units, workshops. We've had students participate in global research projects. For instance, University of Oxford. I've just an hour before this, I was at the University of Oxford initiative where 3 of our students were part of that as well. So for us, partnerships are beyond just about, can I pack my bags and go there? It is not meant to be a springboard. It's about bringing the best of international institutions for you to access as a student. And along with that, create some opportunities as well, whether that's scholarships to do your summer abroad. Let's say somebody like the Victoria University of Wellington in New Zealand, who do some of the programs, which is in international relations, migration studies, philosophy and politics. They're excellent in areas like that. And this is, again, the university that really works with, Minister Arden on her international policy. And it's universities like that that offer scholarships for students who are looking at masters. So some of the collaborations we have are also around, can they recognize the Krea bachelor's for you to articulate into a master's quickly? The Nottingham Trent University, for instance, are excellent in areas of psychology and sustainable development goals studies, right? So again, psychology is a very, very tough program internationally to gain your accreditation. And what we're working towards is actually for them to recognize the Krea bachelor's, which will then allow students to apply for masters that don't necessarily need the British Psychological Society accreditation. And partnerships for us goes beyond universities. It goes through institutional partnerships that you can see out there. For instance, with Academic Internship Council, which is a global internship initiative. They are partners for Purdue, for NUS, and a lot of leading universities in the world, where students get the opportunity to go and intern in over 12 locations in the world. So if you want to go and say, I want to work in really finance in London, I want to work in film in Prague, these are some opportunities we open. Unfortunately, this year, we haven't been able to tap into much of that because flying hasn't been quite the option. But this is to say that when things do open in a couple of years, those options will be available. Do we move on, Vikram?
Yeah, absolutely. And Kara, just to add, I know that there's a ton of merit scholarships and scholarships that are available for many of these opportunities, right?
Absolutely. We do summer program scholarships for Nottingham Trent. There we have launched a program in partnership with the Harris School of Public Policy, where they actually offer part scholarship for a student to do a summer program. We have an opportunity with IUPUI where students can actually go and do a summer of research immersion. So these are all very individual, curated ones. Some are on scholarship. When we mean scholarships, they are merit-based scholarships. I'll quickly go across in terms of some mechanics of how we are expanding it. I mean, the fact is that we are a new university, so we can only go on from what we've built. For instance, we've recently signed the partnership with the University of Bristol. As you know, again, we're talking about leaders, and Bristol's really flagship programs are what you see on your slide. And here, again, we're looking at the 3+1 progression partnership. So you can go ahead to do masters in any of these areas. This is just our first phase, and it's not limiting. Clearly, environment is a huge, huge play in Bristol, and they are one of the world leaders in that space, along with a few others. I just said IUPUI, we are doing a fair bit of work with their bioinformatics space, which is about short-term immersion opportunities, master's progression opportunities, as well as for our students to go and do some work at their AI institute. I can go on. This is a massive laundry list. So really, this is one of our stellar partnerships with Northeastern University. Now, how many of you have actually come across, but Northeastern is world leaders in terms of creating programs that are industry relevant. So we literally have now exemption for the 4th year to actually for our students to progress to a master's into Northeastern without having to do a 4th year, which is like a huge opportunity, because if you were going to look at studying in any leading US university, you might have to do the 4th year. And the wonderful thing about Northeastern is that they do have a Toronto and Vancouver campus, which allows you then to tap into the Canada. This is same to do with the Chicago one as well, where you could do a master's of public policy or a master's of data and policy at the University of Chicago with a 3 years at Krea. And what they will recognize is your internship during your 3 years in that area, which will then be recognized towards a 4th year experience. And at our office in the career services, it is then important for us to start curating these kind of opportunities for students, which makes up for the 4th year as well. I did just talk about this fantastic opportunity with the University of Oxford. We are the first university that the Indocs actually has signed an agreement with. It comes to student exchange opportunity, research opportunity, as well as internship opportunities. The second phase is really an extensive internship. 2 of our students you'll hear from, Ananya and Kostav, who have worked on the research opportunity with Oxford, and we're expanding that to film and writing and so many other areas of mental health next year as well. And Busu, this is again part of what we do at Career Services. I mean, we strongly believe that foreign languages is a very important skill, and hence it opens up a lot of opportunities, especially for students who are looking at masters and research opportunities in countries like Germany and France, where language becomes essential, but just generally for cognitive capabilities as well. So what we've actually done is, there is a typo there, it's supposed to be INR, but what we've done with Busu, which is one of the largest networks, is we offering 12 languages absolutely free, and we're trialing that with students to see how they're kind of learning from these platforms, and we'll keep extending this as well for incoming batches. And to just give you, as I told you about career services, our job is really creating that skills report card. And that's what we endeavor to do, is how do you translate all those skills of creative thinking and, whether that's design thinking, into opportunities. And this is everything that we do. I'm going to just highlight on a couple of things for paucity of time, is the social impact internship. I mean, this has been a huge success. What we do is at the end of the first year, because the first year is really a very general year, but you pick up all the basic skills, and we try and give opportunities for students to apply this into a social impact project. Now, this is not about working in an NGO. It's very different. It could also be with a corporate foundation, but it's about applying things of data and research. So our students have done creating websites for Teach for India, writing manuals for iTeach, all sorts of those projects. And as you can see, all this is what the Career Services Office actually endeavors to support. And you just see some of the people. Every Friday we host talks. So we keep alternating industry speakers as well as our partners. So, just getting access to some of the fantastic people out there. And recently, of course, we've been getting Boston Consulting Group. We had Kes, and then we had Shalini from IBM. I'd like to touch on the next slide. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Is really the Talarang, which is the new one, is a new partnership. This is about creating career-ready graduates. Talarang is an international project that started in Harvard. And what they do is complete career training. So we understand students for the first time will progress to what is called their corporate internships at the end of the second year. We don't encourage corporate internships at the end of the first year because you haven't picked your major. You're still not ready to face some professional requirements of a corporate space. But what we try and do is, irrespective of whether a student who aspires to be in the corporate sector or wants to go ahead to study and work in research or even do the masters, the Talarang Career Ready graduate program takes them through the full spectrum. How do I write my resume? How do I identify my strengths? Where do I work on my weaknesses? How do I create this career plan? How do I present myself in an interview? It goes through all that entire gamut of it. And this is again offered free of cost as a career services initiative to students. So we're having our first set of workshops in January, because our second years in this summer will enter to look at all sorts of opportunities as well. So that's a fantastic initiative, which we're very excited about taking forward.
Thank you so much, Kala, and may I request you to please stay back for the interaction with the parents at the end of the session. Thank you. I know we are very short on time, and let me just take another maybe 5 minutes to end the presentation and talk about the campus facilities. But before that, let me bring some of our students. And I think Krea's cohort, the first cohort, had just been a batch of 113, but each of them is so unique and they've had very unique experiences. So we wanted some of them to come and share those experiences with you. So can we now have Arnav? If you're here, Arnav, can you unmute yourself? So Arnav is from the BD Somani International in Bombay, and he's in the second year now. Arnav, go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm going to keep it really short because I know we are short on time, but it was kind of back in August when, it was just in our holidays and they were coming to an end, and I got a WhatsApp forward through the Harvard US India Initiative group about a global tech competition that was being judged by Steve Wozniak. So I didn't have much hope, honestly, to reach that, but I was just like, let me give it a shot. So I was paired with 5 other individuals, like from all over India. So 3 IIT students and 2 high school girls. And we basically had 5 days to come up with a solution on actually using COVID as a pickup point for either the hospitality, tourism, or education industry, because these are the 3 industries that have been affected the most during COVID. So it had around 41 countries and 58 teams participating, all randomly allocated. And somehow we reached the top five. And the idea we came up with after like thinking endlessly was, okay, you know what, like we can't make a vaccine in 5 days, nor do we have the expertise to do any of like, something that's hardware related. So, we were on a call and we were like, why don't we distribute, the whole vaccines through the ice cream industry? And we took that forward, used a lot of perspectives, and that was actually what got us to win the Global Prospect 100 Challenge. So yeah, it is a fantastic, fast-paced experience, but it's something that I yet cherish today.
Thank you. Arnav, do you also want to talk about your immersion experience? Like, did you do an internship this summer?
Yeah, so I worked with Teach for India, and I was the one with Manvi who kind of converted the. So they had a Google site for the Chennai team, and like because of COVID, like they had to teach all their students online. So the current Google site that they had was essentially static. So like all their fellows couldn't update content on their website. So that's when they realized that they need to kind of make the website dynamic and also optimize the website for phone devices because a lot of the students are using phones to learn and not laptops. So that's when we were called in and we had around 30 days. We took around 80 of the pages, converted it dynamic. At the end, gave them 93 redesigned pages that were optimized for the phone too. And till today, the Chennai team is actually using that website to teach all their students. So quite heartwarming to see that students are actually being impacted with the work we did.
Congratulations, that's amazing. Thank you, Arnav. Can we now have Ananya? Ananya's from the National Public School, Bangalore. Ananya, when you introduce yourself, do also talk about the major and minor that you're planning to do at Krea and talk about your research fellowship experience. Hello. Ananya, we can't see you and hear you. Okay. While you fix that, can I call Kaustav now?
Okay.
Kaustav?
So
okay.
Hi, I'm Ananya. I'm a second year student at Krea. I'm from Bangalore, minor as of now. But I think Kaustav will also speak after this. So am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible now, Ananya. You can unmute yourself and talk. Yeah.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I'll just introduce myself again. I'm Ananya. I'm a second year student from Bangalore. And as of now, I plan to major in economics, and I'm not very sure about my minor. So I think even Costa will be speaking after this. So the way we've divided it is I'll talk about our experience with the Oxford initiative, and Costa can talk about the research fellowship that we're going to be doing with Professor John Matthew over the course of the next year. So the experience with the India Oxford Fellowship was actually a first part of kind of getting our heads onto the entire research project. And the project we worked on was with one of our partners, IFMR Lead, which looked at how mental health services were affected post-COVID. There were two reasons for this. The first was obviously the collapse of these services post-COVID, but also because there was a stark increase in the number of cases around the country, both from rural and urban areas. And the part of the project that we were involved in was essentially the literature review. So looking at literature from published resources, gray matter, all of those things, and kind of compiling them to form a base from where this research project could stem. And Kaustav looked at the more international parts of the study, whereas I looked at more parts of the study which were related to India. And I think both together kind of gave us a very good comparison as to where India stands in the global sphere, as well as kind of how to go about with this. It gave us the opportunity, I think, I can talk endlessly about the research, but to talk more about the skill set that we learned, it was a lot of logical thinking, a lot of critical analysis of literature. And I think most importantly, it was that because, although we have access to the internet, a lot of these sources aren't immediately in the form of a compiled version. And to read multiple sources, to connect the dots, to discuss with your team members. We were led by Ms. Sapna and Preeti from Lead, and they kind of mentored us thoroughly to kind of how to go about with this, what are the best ways to do it. And I think overall, it was an absolutely amazing learning experience. And yeah, I would like to thank everyone for that.
Thank you. And Ananya, tell us, enlighten us about the whole process. Like, how did you get to know about this? Did you have to apply? Was there a selection? How do these opportunities reach you as students?
So I think the first part was actually applying for the research fellowship itself. In terms of, this was not the India Oxford initiative, but working on, so the Krea research wing kind of released 25 lakhs and said that students and faculty could apply for this, and we had to submit grant proposals, proposing what our projects would be and how we would go about with it. And we kind of had a pitch with the research council. And for that, Kaustav, I and Professor John Matthew applied for it, and we actually got the research fellowship. And I think post that, one day Kala actually approached us saying that, you guys have shown interest in research, and LEAD has this project with the Oxford initiative, so would you be interested? And I think both Kaustav and I were just, on our seventh heaven, and yeah, I think that's how we got it.
Great, congratulations. Kaustav, do you want to come in now?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Fantastic.
I can't see you though. Okay, yeah, now I can see you.
Yeah, okay, sure. So Ananya kind of covered the part about the faculty research, but not about what we are about to research on. So the selection, oh yeah, sorry, I should introduce myself first before I skip to many stones. I'm Kaustav. Hello and a good evening. I'm a second year undergrad at Krea, and I've decided to major in the biological sciences and minor in chemistry. I was also planning to do a concentration in psychology, but I decided that I wanted to take more courses in chemistry instead, just because I find it super interesting. I also have an informal background in machine learning, or the popular parlance seems to be artificial intelligence and stuff. And I'm a super computer geeky guy. So to the topic of research fellowship, John approached Ananya and I, and also I should mention that at Krea, we have a very informal and formal relationship with the professors. So to us, John is like more of a friend as opposed to like, oh, John sir or anything like that. We just call him John and we hang out with him, and he hosts choirs, and it's fantastic. We got into a call with him and another professor, Kalyan, as well as Akshay Jain, who was formerly in the Office of Student Life. I think he's still in the Office of Student Life. And we came together to discuss, this was during COVID, I think this was during April, and what was the hot topic, or rather the unfortunately hot topic at the time was migration that is happening, migration of migrant workers during lockdown. And we were thinking to ourselves, okay, so if COVID has caused people to migrate, could migration so we kind of flipped that on its head. If COVID caused migration, is it possible that migration has worsened COVID across India, for example? So that was a research hypothesis, and John, Ananya, and I worked nights after nights over Zoom calls and stuff. Submitted a research proposal, had a whole presentation with the research council, which Gaurav and also heads. And a few days later, we got it. And I think we have to submit the paper, I think, in a year from now. But there's a lot of work to be done, but I think this is very exciting stuff. And
Right.
I don't think this would have been the case in another university, just because of how tightly knit everybody is.
Congratulations, Kaustav, and thank you for sharing that. We will request some of you to stay back for the Q&A as well, so that if parents have questions, they can ask. Can I quickly bring in Meera now, and then Naveen, and both of you can share your experiences as well, and then we move into Campus Live, and then we open to questions. Meera, over to you.
Sure, thank you, Vikram. I hope you can hear me clearly enough. Okay, great. Hello, I'm Meera Trivedi. I am from Mumbai and I attended Jamnabai Narsi School before coming to Krea. I'm doing a joint major in history and politics, both subjects that are very, very close to my heart. I'll specifically talk about the Data and Policy Summer Scholars Program that I attended this year during the summer months. So the Data and Policy Summer Scholars Program is a summer school program offered by the Harris School of Public Policy, which is a particular school within the University of Chicago. And it's an incredible opportunity to learn data science, to learn R programming, to learn data analytics and visualization through public policy. So the essential underlined takeaway is, how do you use data and quantitative measures to measure the social impact of any public policy decision that an institution, an agency, or a governing body makes. And it was absolutely brilliant because you get to work with and learn with people from all over the world. You get to be taught by some of the best professors out there, and it isn't simply asynchronous lectures that you sort of you watch the video and you do the assignment, but you also get regular feedback. You have office hours every day with teaching fellows. There are these synchronous sessions where they've taught us policy writing and all sorts of things, networking, how do you sit for an interview, how do you prepare a resume, right down to those sorts of details. And it was an incredible experience. I also got to do a capstone research project with the professors at University of Chicago, and it was about a 4-week long project, but it was absolutely incredible. uh, Really sort of, they provide the data to you. You use all of the skills that you've gained in those 8 weeks, and you apply it, and you actually come up with something original of your own. So I mean, it was an awesome experience. Of course, it wouldn't have been possible without Krea, because our career services office reached out to all of the students about an opportunity like this, and we got to apply for a scholarship. And after a round of written sort of application and then an interview with two of our professors, Professor Prithvi and Professor Prathamesh, who sort of looked at both the data and computing as well as the social sciences part of things. And they evaluated students on the basis of how well a student can sort of interweave the social sciences and data. Uh, I was fortunate enough to sort of sit through that interview and also receive the 100% scholarship. So that was an incredible experience, and I wouldn't have been able to do the summer school without the support that Krea University gave me.
Thank you so much, Meera. And in fact, I want to tell all the parents that I can just go on for an hour discussing this with Meera and Arnav and all of them, because they've had so many opportunities like this. They've had incredible experiences and anecdotes from their student life journey. So that's another separate session that we'll do later. Thank you so much, Meera. And finally, Naveen, do you want to unmute yourself and share about your experience?
Thank you, Vikram. So I will try to keep it really short. And hi, I'm Naveen, and I'm doing a biological science major and probably a chemistry minor as of right now. And Vikram have asked me to talk about 3 things. And initially, my junior fellowship at the New York Academy of Sciences, and I'll start with the selection process. The selection process was like, you have to submit a research proposal, and my research proposal was based on a project based on sustainability, and this was done with under the mentorship of a professor from UC Berkeley. And this project was went for examination under expert council of the New York Academy of Sciences, and fortunately, I was approved, and I got the opportunity to work with fellow students in the New York Academy of Sciences, and our project was based on the nutrition crisis in India and other third world countries. And again, fortunately, it was approved for presentation in the Global STEM Alliance Summit, and we were able to present our project in front of people like the president of Coca-Cola and different professors from Harvard, Stanford, and even the chancellor of UC Berkeley, Nicholas Stritz. And that's it for the New York Science Academy thing. And other than that, the research done in Krea University, I have been working for like 6 months from now with the professor Shivani Vijaya Jadeja on a research topic, how the temperature variations due to climate change is affecting the life cycle of different insects, including butterflies. And this included almost everything like primary data collection, secondary data collection, data analysis using different tools, and finally writing a paper. We are right now working on writing a paper right now, and fortunately the research paper will be published next year.
Okay, great. That's amazing, Naveen. And thank you so much. And I just want to bring the attention of all the parents that these are kids who've just spent 4 trimesters in Krea. I'm really, sometimes wondered of the kind of work that the kids are doing and the kind of support they get from the faculty members and the various career services and partnerships office at Krea. We're very, so I'm going to go like at, light speed now to finish this and then request you to unmute and ask questions because we want an interaction. Maybe we can extend this by 10 minutes. But Krea is very inclusive and diverse. We are fully financially inclusive, which means that kids from all socioeconomic backgrounds can apply and come and study at Krea. Almost 10% of the students at Krea study at no cost. Almost 5% actually have aid on even living expenses. We receive applications from across more than 300 boards the country, from state boards, CBSE, A levels, Cambridge. We have 10% students who are first generation undergraduate students. 45% of we have 45% of the students have represented the district, state, or country in sports, literature, Olympiads, and performing art, and about 40% of the students receive financial aid. And not just this, also diversity of interest and thought, because I think peers are very important, and Krea goes the extra mile to select the students because we want the right kind of students to come into Krea, because with faculty you're spending maybe 3-4 hours in a day, but with peers you're spending the entire rest of the day. So we're very particular about student selection. This, of course, there's a ton of, there's not enough time for us to talk about student life, but there are, but it's very vibrant, the campus. There are about 18 student clubs that are on campus. We really believe in self-governance. So there is a very established and now growing Office of Student Life, which actively looks at life of a student at Krea. So there is a government structure that the students have come up with. They've actually now the elections are going on right now for different ministries in the student body. So it's a lot of fun, and of course you can get into different clubs and committees. If you have questions about this, we can answer that. We are located exactly about 70 kilometers north of Chennai in a place called Sri City. So the closest metro is Chennai. So for you to travel to and fro, Chennai airport is the place. From where it takes about 2 hours to reach the campus. We are currently on a 40-acre campus, which is a 5-year-old campus, which is shared between the IFMR Graduate School of Business and the School of Interwoven Arts and Sciences. The capacity of the campus is about 625 students, but now we have 2 more residence blocks, so we have an increased capacity. It is a completely residential campus, so you have to stay on campus because that's the kind of program that we built. On the campus you have, so this is a sample hostel room that you have. It's twin sharing, it's an en-suite. So really, I think, and there's servicing, there's like a laundromat that is available on the campus. So everything that you need in terms of support is available. We have Group Captain Ramesh, who's actually the Chief Administration Officer of the campus. There is a so the campus is extremely safe with surveillance, and even the peripheries of the campus and all are very secure. We have a medical center on campus. There's an ambulance that is available 24/7. We have tie-ups with hospitals in Sri City for any kind of support. There's a nurse available on campus 24/7, and doctors visit for a particular time to the campus. There's shuttle that goes to Chennai and comes back over the weekend. So students are allowed to go to Chennai over the weekends. And of course, the student lounges, open amphitheaters, gym, everything that you require for a day-to-day life is available. Almost all kinds of outdoor, indoor sports facilities are also available on the campus. In terms of food, dining, students decide the menu. So we have a very good representation of the entire country and sometimes outside. So they decide on what kind of menus to be set. You also have places from where you can buy food. Both veg, non-veg food is available. Library, assisted learning centers, there's a salon, there's a convenience store, medical center, all of these are available on campus. It's a completely residential sustainable campus. Almost 60% of the energy that we use is created on the campus. We are going to come up with an extended campus, which is about 200 acres, and that will take a couple of more years. And because of COVID, it's pushed by a year. So, it's going to come up very soon. And that is it from us. There are a couple of announcements before I hand over and ask you to unmute and ask questions. Those of you who want to visit the campus, so we don't have any assisted campus tours that are available now because we don't want to encourage any group tours. But any of you who wish to visit the campus before the 9th or even after, you could write on this email ID. You can take a screenshot of this page and tell us about what date you want to visit, how many people, and what time of the day, and we can connect you to the people on the campus. We obviously take, there is a particular number of slots that are available each day. So please get a confirmation on email before you go ahead and book your tours. You typically want to spend about 3-4 hours on the campus, so you can plan your to and fro accordingly. You can do day trips from places like Bangalore or even Bombay, though it's a little stretch. But if you're coming from somewhere far, then it would be advisable that you stay over the night in Chennai, and the next day you visit the campus and you can move back. And as I said, there are one-on-one counseling sessions that are available with Meenu. So if any of you wish to do that, we will send you an email and you can book your slots. But happy to take questions. Thank you so much for being here. And anybody can unmute now and ask questions.
Good evening.
Devarina.
Yes, good evening, ma'am. Good evening, Vikram. That was indeed a very, extensive, knowledge that you gave us, information, and we are so happy to, learn so many things. And I'm very happy that my child is going to be a part of Krea. I have one issue that I have also raised while on phone calls in the last 2 days. That is when we got the Krea admission form, when we had to put in our acceptance, there was a fee payment, the initial fee payment. So when I did the fee payment on my phone, the SMS came as deducted. On your end, it came as failure. Over the weekend, since it was closed, so banks were closed and things like that. Today morning, it showed as debited from your side. So it credited to your side and completely debited from my side. So I would like to get a clarity on that, because I need the transaction ID to put in the acceptance letter and mail it to you all. So if you kindly help me out with that, that would be really great. And
absolutely, ma'am, and thank you for bringing that up. So you have written an email to the admissions email ID, is that correct?
Yes.
So actually, 25th, 26th, 27th was an extended off. So I think yesterday the teams have come back. So allow us another 24 hours. We'll note your name, ma'am.
Yes.
And by tomorrow, we'll make sure you get a reply from us. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Aman. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you could also elaborate on the acceptance procedure of, once we email you the acceptance letter and form, so do you give us a confirmation back on email about that?
Yes, you will receive an email from the admissions office. So once they have received the payment, and once they've received your acceptance letter, they will reach out to you and write to you and confirm to you.
So just one minute. That is, I have the statement with me today, the current statement showing the debit which has happened today morning. So should I take a PDF of this and email you also?
Ma'am, if you have sent it to the admissions, they are the ones who anyways look at it with the accounts people. So be rest assured, you will hear from us by tomorrow. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Anyone else with any? Yes.
Can I? May I? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
My daughter is Aparajita, who is seeking admission this year. I just want to know about one small thing. I mean, first thing is about the visit which you have already covered. So we would certainly like to visit once and see it. That's for one. The second part, what I wanted to know is, I mean, this is a provisional admission, or is a because 12th standard results are not yet out, so it would take some time. So are you going to fix up some criteria on percentage from the 12th standard, or is it going to be a admitted kind of a thing?
Correct, sir. Thank you so much for that question. And one of the actually happy news to share with all of you this time, we've done away with hard conditionals. So till last year, you had hard conditions, which meant that whatever percentage you had put as predicted was the percentage that you had to get a confirmed offer. But this year we've removed it, which means that because we have a holistic selection process and all your children have actually shown, potential and passion for the kind of process that we have. So most of our, the offer now is only conditioned to your children clearing the grade 12th. Otherwise, it is a confirmed offer. Yeah.
Thank you, Vikram.
Thank you. Yes, I think Manshar Singh. Sorry. I think,
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
That's us. My question is around whether this session, and I understand that you might not be able to answer it completely, whether this session is going to be residential, because a big part of college life is actually campus life. We've gone through months of Zoom classes on 12th. He's missed out almost all his 12th, and it's hard. So do you think this session will be in person, on campus?
Yes, I think thank you for that question as well. I think this is a big question that every one of you must have. Just to update you about the things that we've been doing at the university. So before the nation actually went in lockdown, we went into a complete evacuation very early in March, and students were sent home. So the third trimester of the first year and the fourth trimester for the second year students was completely online. Obviously there are multiple, as you know, it's not an easy question to answer. There are a lot of moving pieces for us to be able to answer this. There are national and regional governments that play a part. The UGC plays a part, the state governments, local governments, and also the kind of infection that is prevalent in some of those places. Also the kind of students that we get, right? We get students from all corners of the country, many students from, even hotspots, are students who study at Krea. So what we are doing is we have opened the campus on the 1st of December for PhD students. And so again, what we are doing is that we are looking at who can come first and prioritizing, because one of the things I want to tell all parents is university campuses are not meant for isolation. They are collaborative spaces. They're not designed for isolation, right? So especially for residential university campuses, it becomes difficult. So what we've also done is that from January onwards, all the students who are on full financial aid or students who have difficulty with access are also allowed to come back to campus. About 25 of them are also coming to the campus in January, along with the second year master's students. So there are going to be about 100 students who will be on campus Jan onwards. So we will have to see the entire situation and then decide. There is obviously a priority list. So students who would need lab and other resources at the campus would be prioritized first. So there is all that planning that's going on, but August is very far, and we are very hopeful that the vaccine would be available by then. So once you're vaccinated, I think it should be possible. But Meenu, please add to this.
I have no faith in the vaccine in any case, but my question was also around not just the students, but the visiting faculty, but the teachers, the professors, because that interaction is also, if they're just in campus and with friends, but are still coming over Zoom calls. I was wondering, are all the majority of the head of departments or the professors going to be coming into campus?
Yeah, let me quickly answer that. Sorry, from a communications angle, and so that I just give what's the official university spiel on that. So clearly we have a whole lot of procedure protocol in place in campus. We've tied up with Kaveri Hospital. What we've done for now is created, Sri City is a green zone, so there's a bio bubble. We have a large number of faculty who stay on campus. So that faculty have not traveled outside, so they have stayed on campus. As Vikram mentioned, we're doing a phased-wise opening of campus. We've started with the PhDs, and there is a protocol in terms of them coming in, quarantining. That same goes for faculty who return. They go through the quarantining process. There are separately dedicated residential blocks for the quarantining before they're actually brought in. We've set up 2 sites, COVID testing sites with Kaveri on site as well. So your question is very valid, and it would have, while we can have every protocol and procedure in place, it's going to definitely depend on which way all of this swing. But for sure, we're going with the camps, going with the graded entry. At no point, the UGC mandates that at no point you can have more than that many people on campus. So we're kind of working on a hybrid. We're prioritizing students who cannot have the opportunity to learn from home, because as you know, we have students from all sorts of socioeconomic backgrounds. So we're prioritizing some of those students. Yes, we're going to have, the challenge of faculty coming in, but as I said, we've got quarantining procedures in place to support something like that. And my expectation is hopefully when all this kind of opens, we'll start having this MBA students come in January. We're hoping that by after the summer, we'll have the next batch slowly come in. It's anybody's guess which way this will swing, but we hope to have addressing the important aspect that campus life is a big part of student life, is highly recognized, and that is extremely.
And also, just to add, we will keep you posted now that you all are all part of the Krea cohort of 24. We will send regular updates to all of you about the happenings on campus. Thank you.
Also, Jyoti, I would like to add one more thing. I'm sorry, because I think they were asking, you also mentioned about the student life. So just to keep you in loop, that student life is working online also, in the sense that there are a lot of interactions which are happening online. So seniors interacting with the juniors, clubs are organizing various kinds of activities. In fact, we also had a Krea night where all the students presented something or the other. All the cultural activities were presented online. So that aspect of student life, students will experience maybe in a different way. And in fact, our director of the student life, Akshay Jain, is heading. We have a full department which looks after the well-being, the psychological well-being, the mental health, and the mindfulness. So all that happens online also. So
yeah, absolutely. And in fact, sorry,
I had a question.
Okay, I think okay, ma'am, go ahead, and then we have Jyoti couple and we have Vikas Oswal after that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just a very small, simple question, which my son wanted to know. Is he allowed to, get a cycle? He was, very particularly to know that, or a skateboard. Is he allowed, to use it in the campus?
Yes, and yes to both.
All right.
We have in the first batch also, we have cyclists who are studying. So yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, Miss Jyoti is, I don't know whether Jyoti is a parent or a student, but please go ahead.
This is Jyoti Kapal. I'm Sapna's mother, and thank you, Team Krea, for that insight into the college life. How it's going to be. So I have 2 questions. One question is that in the second year, once they select the major, after some time, if they want to switch the major, can that happen? 1, and 2, when the parents are visiting, once the college opens, we are wishing it does, and parents are visiting, do you have any accommodation facility on the campus where they can pre-book and pay and maybe stay for a day?
So to answer your first question, ma'am, I think the first year really is sort of like an exploratory year for them to think about what kind of courses they want to do and get sort of certainty, because that is the time that they're exploring not just the courses, but themselves and their interests. So we're hoping that by the end of the first year, they have clarity. When they come into the 4th year, they have something called a shopping period. Which is about 2 weeks, where they can attend any course, any class, any major, any minor. So they can randomly attend classes and they can see what they like. Also, when they come into the 4th year, so another thing is that Krea offers trimesters and not semesters, right? So we have more that we are packing in 3 years. So in a trimester, they do 4 courses, right? So in the 4th trimester, they can actually sample subjects. So if they're confused between 2, they can take both of those subjects and study that for an entire trimester. it's really by the 5th trimester that they've learned everything, they've experienced things, they really declare a major, because post that there'll not be enough time for you to complete that major by 3 years. So 4th year, there's still 2 subjects they take from the major, they take 1 from a minor, and they take 1 from the other interest other than your major and a minor. So they get an ample amount of time to decide that. The second question about parent accommodation, currently we don't offer any parent accommodation on campus. So if you're visiting in and around Sri City, there are good accommodation facilities that are available. So that is something that we can recommend, and we can share the list with you. But currently, we don't have any parent accommodation on the campus.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Vikram, hi, this is Sunil here. Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir. Okay. And Mr. Vikas, I'm sorry, after Mr. Sunil, you can go ahead.
I will wait for Mr. Vikas, then I'll ask my question after.
Okay. Sorry, he had raised his hand before. Sorry. Yes,
No
Mr.
worries.
Vikas, go ahead.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Iyer. Vikram, firstly, thanks for the incredible session today. And not just for today, but the kind of work that you and the outreach team, Ms. Kala, Ms. Meenu, have been doing. I understand that these sessions you're used to doing in person. So just to transition, I think you guys deserve a round of applause as well. My question, just a small detail that I noticed on the faculty. So a lot of the faculty seem to be visiting faculty. So one thing I want to ask is, considering that they're just visiting faculty, will they be, around for the 3 years for students to, form deep, meaningful relationships to the, form of mentor-mentee or even research projects? So if you could just draw some light on that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Actually, most of our faculty members are not visiting, they're full-time. In fact, the first set of 32 faculty members that onboarded Krea, out of that about 28 are full-time. So they all live on campus. When I say on campus, just about 2 kilometers on the campus where there is a residential facility. So most of them actually live on campus. But having said that, we also have to work with adjunct faculty, because sometimes, especially for some programs, it's difficult to get full-time faculty members. So Krea has different set of permutations and combinations. So one is a faculty who are full-time, who stay on the campus. We have professors of practice. These are people who are practitioners in their own discipline, and they work maybe 2 days a week, but they come and teach at Krea about 3 days a week. And then we have adjunct faculty members. Then we have faculty in residence. So there are different types of arrangements that we have with people so that they get the kind of holistic environment that we are trying to create on campus. And most of these people usually sign up for a term. It's not really that they're just coming for, like, visiting faculty is also maybe signing up for 3 or 4 year terms. So they're with us. And what happens is, even when I say visiting faculty members, when they have a particular course to teach in a particular trimester, they actually sometimes do come and spend about 3 months on campus teaching that course. So it's not really that, they're just doing 1 or 2, like, I understand your dilemma also, because how, in Indian universities, especially, we see somebody who's visiting only for a day and put as visiting faculty member, but that is not the case at Krea. They do spend at least a term, or they teach that term online. So that is how we define visiting faculty. So there's not like that, that disconnect will not come.
Thanks for that, Vikram.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Iyer, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Vikram. My question is a 101 question, which is around what is available as financial scholarship, what is available as financial aid, because my son is keen that he takes it on to himself and then he runs with it.
Yeah.
So whatever.
Did you want to answer that question?
Yeah.
So basically, we don't have any merit scholarship, but we do have financial aid. So I'm sure that you must have sent your, financial documents to the finance department. So they will look at all the family income documents. And if the family income is below 35 lakhs, then they will look at the demonstrated need, and the finance department will try their best to support the child, whatever demonstrated need is there. So,
yeah.
No, great.
Yeah, I think also
my question was
I got your question. So there are banks that we work with where you could apply for an education loan, and there are different kinds of services that many of these BFSI companies offer us. If you wish to know more, we are happy to connect you to them directly. So that you could talk to them and get a more detailed understanding of how the repayment happens, how much duration after the course do you get as a period to work and then start paying the EMI. So what is the interest rate and all of that. We're happy to connect you to all the 4 or 5 or more partners that we have, and you can take that forward.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah,
thank you.
Do that.
Vikram, hi, Krishnan here. I managed to join
yes,
the call later.
Yes, hi. So allow me to introduce Mr. Krishnan. He is the head of Director of Financial Services Assistance. Please, Mr. Krishnan, enlighten us.
Mr. Iyer, was your question specifically that your son wants to sort of, fund his own education, or what exactly do you have in mind?
He wants to fund his own education. That's what is going on in his mind.
Okay. So as Vikram and Meenu said, one, we have this financial assistance, which are really meant to support those students who have got admission. They are bright kids, but are unable to sort of fund their education because of their economic background. So that is what is called financial assistance, which is provided between 10% and all the way up to complete waiver of both tuition fees as well as the living expenses. But that, of course, depends upon the kind of background they come from, the combined family income, the fixed and financial assets, and all those aspects, which we look at and then arrive at a percentage of financial assistance that we can offer. Besides that, as Vikram said, those who are outside the 35 lakhs threshold, they exceed that. We can, organize loans from banks, from lending platforms that we have, NBFCs. So we have tie-ups with a number of organizations, both private sector banks, public sector banks, and these educational platforms that have come in the recent years like Eduvance, Credence, and all of them. We have given some details on our website, but if you need any further information, feel absolutely free to get in touch with me.
I will do that, sir. Thank you for that.
So then next we have, thank you for that. Next we have Mr. Bhaskar and then Kanishk and then Mr. Deepak. Yes, go ahead.
Vikram, this is Bhaskar. Yeah.
Sorry.
Hello.
Yeah, Mr. Bhaskar, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Mr. Iyer asked the same question that I had in mind with regard to the scholarship. So that is answered. I just had one more, just a follow-up question on the campus visit. Is it a possible thing to do a campus visit in a day from Bangalore?
Yes, it's possible. However, you'll have to plan your trip accordingly. Depends on whether you're driving or flying. If you're taking a flight, then it's more possible than driving because it's a long drive. So you could write to us. There is an email ID that I flashed. I can do that again. So write to us of your plan and we'll just tell you whether it's possible.
No problem. I think I have made a note of the email ID. So I'll write to you and then plan it out.
Great.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great session. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Deepak, go ahead. You can ask your question.
My question is concerning the travel of the students from airport to the campus or vice versa.
Yeah. So we don't have regular shuttles to the airport, of course, but when the students are coming, if it's a trimester break or if there's any other occasion when a large number of students are actually visiting, students themselves can decide on having shuttles depending on the times of the year. So when they go on their term break, I know there are shuttles that run directly to the airport and to the railway station. But to answer your question, yes, they can be organized and they will be organized as and when it's required.
Okay. And typically, how long is the distance or the journey?
It depends on the traffic, sir. So on a good day, it might take about an hour and 45 minutes. On a day when there's a lot of traffic, it might take up to 2.5 hours. It's the Calcutta highway, so sometimes there is traffic. So that's how much. That's a range.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Mohit Agarwal. I think we'll extend this by 5 more minutes, and then if there are more questions, we can always give our email IDs and you can write to us. Yes, Mr. Mohit.
There are two things. The question is like my daughter is willing to take psychology. So as I could see the slides, for her master's, will she have to do a 4-year course or she can do it after 3 years? This is my question. The concern is I was trying to deposit her fees. No money was debited from my account. I did not fill in any details, but I've got a receipt. I've written to the accounts department also.
Congratulations.
There was a phone call yesterday, but I haven't, she from some Vaishnavi, she told me she'll be getting back to me regarding the
So the New Year's come early for you. No, I'm just kidding. But we will spot that query for you, sir. Thank you for actually bringing that up. The admissions will certainly get back to you, and Vaishnavi will get back to you. But your first question, I would request Meenu to take that.
Yeah, Mr. Mohit, actually for psychology, to pursue a master's program in psychology, it depends which country and which university you're talking about. If your daughter wants to pursue master's program within India, then there is no need to go for the 4th year. 3 years undergrad degree is accepted in any Indian university to do your master's program. Of course, if they have the entrance exams, you need to give entrance exams. As far as foreign universities are concerned, if you are pursuing some course where we have a tie-up, and if some kind of waive off in terms of tuition or the entrance or the 4th year concession has been provided, then your daughter will avail that. Otherwise, if you're applying to any university in US or Canada, they require 4 years of undergrad program. That actually they require 16 years of education. So it's better to go for the 4th year and then apply to US or Canada for your master's program. As far as UK, New Zealand, Australia are concerned, there you can apply straight after 3 years of undergrad program. The only thing is, like, for example, if you're applying to Australia, UK, you can apply directly after 3 years. Australia and New Zealand will require you to submit your mark sheets to a particular organization, which will evaluate the mark sheet and give you credits. And accordingly, they will give you the admission.
Yeah. I see your hand, Mr. Balakrishnan. I'll come to you. We'll take the last 3 questions from Archit Murli first, then Adrian, John, and then Mr. Balakrishnan. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and this is actually Murali, Archit's father. Archit is sitting right next to me here. I have 2 questions actually, completely unrelated. The first one is perhaps an offshoot from Mr. Singh's question, the very first question that you answered. Now, I think we're being a bit ambitious, thinking that the students will be back in campus by August. Hopefully, everything will go all right and we'll be back in campus by August. But if that doesn't happen and this situation prolongs, probably wanted to understand how Krea is geared up to continue the quality of education that you shared with us earlier. And it was quite inspiring, by the way. Perhaps in a virtual manner. Have you thought about that? Have you?
Yes. So, sir, actually, even this year when we've started classes online, the quality isn't compromised. The kind of opportunities, the kind of learning that has to happen is continuing. And it's been two trimesters that we've done that successfully online. And I think faculty members that we have are people who've taught and done research and have worked with people virtually always. They've been around the world and they've collaborated with people around the world. So, one of the researchers that is done with the World Economic Forum says that we will never go to 100% on-campus learning model, and that we will continue to move towards a hybrid model. And I think that's what we embrace. Even when Krea started, we knew that with on-campus learning, you can only reach so much, right? So we will continue to have, if not a full on campus, then at least a hybrid model of learning. And, if situation gets worse and if we cannot open the campus, we will continue to work to do the classes online, like how it's being right now. We're happy to actually connect you to some of our first year students who've actually spent their first trimester online, and they will also be able to share with you the kind of experiences they've had. See, faculty are the same. It didn't take us too much time to get used to this online learning model because we were already doing it. So I don't think there is a challenge, at least for the first year education. even if it continues to be online. So we're fully equipped to handle that. And as Meenu said, even the student life, right? I mean, there are about 18 pages on Instagram where students are collaborating. They have debates, they have visitors who come and talk to them. So all that part of the learning is also happening virtually. So we're completely equipped.
Yes. Also, just to add to this, if teachers used to teach, through activities or certain kind of group discussions, everything is happening online. Even the online teaching is activity based.
I think one of the tasters for you to how it's happening online is how we've moved the KIC online, right? I mean, it's still it is a very small example of how classroom experiences can be created online. Yeah.
I acknowledge that this is unprecedented, and perhaps 2020 was more about learning on how do we connect and collaborate, without being physically present in the room. My question was more about, I mean, we were reacting this year, right? Did that allow you to contemplate and think about how can you be proactive in giving a holistic learning experience to students if this situation prolongs? But I guess the answer probably has to evolve. So I'll probably not take up your time now for that. Maybe another discussion.
Thank you so much.
Perhaps as an easier answer, traveling to Coimbatore this weekend, and we'll probably have a day stopover at Bangalore. So I think it's important for us to know how long is a drive from Bangalore to Krea, so that we can do a day trip. It's going to be quite exertive.
Yeah, I'm not actually truly very sure about it, but I'm assuming Google Maps can help you there. Just put in both the locations, get the exact the duration, and give maybe some buffer. But it is I think it's more than 7 hours of drive one way. Right?
And then how much time realistically should I set aside for the campus?
3 hours. 3 hours is good enough. 2 to 3 hours. It depends on you actually. If you want to cut it short, if you have only an hour, that depends on you. You can tell people at the campus that you have only so much time, and they'll try to do what can be done best in that duration. So write to us, and we'll be happy to help you.
Thanks.
Thank you. We have Adrian John now. Yes.
Yeah, hi, Vikram, thank you, and to your faculty at Krea, wonderful orientation. 2 quick questions, but before which I thought I'll answer Mr. Murli's question. So Adrian, myself, we did visit Krea from Bangalore, and it took us about 7.5 hours from Bangalore, and this was during, I think, the month of September. Yeah, around, no, August to be precise, August at that particular point. And it took us about 2 hours plus for the campus tour. And the good part of the campus tour is that we met a couple of faculty members as well. And I think it was very informative, and I think who should get that to Krea should definitely meet their faculties. It was very enriching. It was a very good experience. So I just come back to my, I have 2 questions very quickly. Firstly, I saw that there was no business management subjects in, as a major. And one of the subjects that we were keen for was on the business studies, but I see that on the minor side. So the first question is there any plans in force for getting this changed or introduction of it as a major?
Yeah. Meenu, do you want to take that?
So yeah, thank you, Vikram. So business studies will be offered as minor only, and if you look at from the career perspective, one thing I would like to add on here, when students are willing to do the management course, what is required to pursue the management course? You actually require the plethora of opportunities where you can practice all kinds of skills from all kinds of disciplines. So keeping that in mind, students who are coming from the commerce background, we always recommend that they can always take up economics with business studies as minor, because mostly students who want to pursue management field, they want to go for the MBA degree later on. So if you look at it from that perspective, BBA is nothing but the theory, and the MBA is the implementation of whatever theory you have learned. So I personally feel, as a career counselor, and after talking to so many students who have already done their BBA courses, and they say that, ma'am, in MBA, we don't find anything new, then their experience gets limited. So it's better always to get that broader based education and then do the management program at your master's level. As far as Krea is concerned, as of now, we don't have any plans to offer business studies as major.
And I don't think we are going to offer business as a major even in the coming years. As I think Minu said, I've done my master's in business administration, right? And most of my batchmates either came from technology like computer science or architecture, or, they did other things in undergrad, but very few BBA, MBA combinations, simply because we feel that it's a repetition. And also one of the things that we feel is that economics is a more in-depth course. It gives you much more strong foundation into your thought, and it doesn't restrict to business but extends to society as well. So if you're keen on business, you have the business minor, in which you can take about 6 or 7 subjects.
In fact, if you combine it with psychology, that will be a very good option, because if you look at, the management programs, it's nothing but the application of psychology in organizations. So if you combine economics or, psychology with business studies, that will be a wonderful combination.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Vikram and Minu.
Yes,
can I just
Mr.
ask my second question?
Okay.
Yes, sorry, 2 questions. And I think this will be a yes/no answer for you. So the tuition fee is broken up as a 35,000 as an admission fee and a 50,000 as a trimester fee. Now, is any of these refundable just in case we decide not to opt for Krea?
There is a refund policy that's available on the website, sir. It is pretty flexible, so you can go through that. I think most of it is refundable in case we have fewer withdrawals anyway. So you could write to us, and I think it's very clearly given on the website. So if you want more information, you can write. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Mr. Balakrishnan, please. You've been waiting for some time. Yeah.
Yep. No, that's okay. Thank you very, very much for the excellent presentation. And thank you all the parents for asking some amazing questions. Half of my questions got answered with all that you asked today. I'll make this quick. So I have a question 1, which has 3 points, and a question 2. Question 1 would be to understand the number of applicants and the shortlisting ratio that you have at stage 1. And that is point number 1 in section question 1. The point number 2 would be, how many students do you intake every year? That would be in 1B. And 1C would be, you had talked about the mentor-mentoree program with 15 students, but it'll be good to understand how many would be there plus per a classroom or a session, and what would be the student-teacher ratio. This is one question. And the second one is about placements. So once you are done with this, I just want to understand that.
Absolutely. So let me just quickly dive in. We do not actually have the absolute numbers. Those are something that admissions has, and I don't think that they are disclosed, but I can tell you about the ratio of application to enrollment. So we usually have a little less than 10:1 ratio for application to enrollment. Right. And this batch, which is the class of 2024, the upper limit that we're looking at in terms of student intake is 240 across all programs. That's the upper limit. I mean, we can go anywhere between 200 to 240, depending on how many candidates we get from each round, right? In the first year, we had around 113 students. We had a capacity of 125. We ended taking up 113. Last year, we had a capacity of 150. We took about 141, and this year the capacity is 240, and it's increased because of the 2 new residence blocks that we have, which have come up on the campus. The third question, so 1.3 was what? Sorry.
Student to teacher ratio.
Student to teacher ratio. Actually, currently, if you look at it, the student to faculty ratio is almost 1:5, which is a dream faculty student ratio. But eventually, the idea is to not go above 1:9. There are different kinds of classes that happen. So usually a class size is not more than 25. If it's a seminar class, then it can go up to 100, 150 also, depending on what kind of faculty members there are. And more when they progress into their majors and go into more and more permutations and combinations, the class sizes reduce. That's one of the beauties of liberal education. I hope that answers your question.
Clear, very clear. The last question would be that any parent would ask, is to understand, I don't know if placements have already started at Krea. I'm presuming this should be the first year, or the next year would be the first year to do that. So in that, again, placements would have 2 categories. One is the people who do the 3-year program and somebody who does the 4-year program. So what do you have in terms of placements, and what kind of opportunities would our children get? Because I got to know about the entire liberal arts program from my daughter, Uditi Krishna. and I didn't know anything about this because my son has completed engineering and he works. So I'm trying to learn this as it comes along. So I hope this question is not impertinent to this discussion today.
Absolutely. I'll answer the first bit, but I think Meenu should answer this question. Meenu, please go ahead.
No, actually, I was trying to invite Kala if she's around. So,
No.
Mr. Balakaran, as far as placements are concerned, I think it's important for any university to understand, to what extent they are connected with the industries. So, as far as Krea is concerned, we always say that we have porous boundaries. We keep inviting industry leaders to our universities to talk to our students directly. Now, what happens when they're coming and they're talking to students? First of all, they're preparing students that, have to enter this world of work. And secondly, they know what kind of work Krea is doing, what kind of students Krea is educating. So, getting placement will not be an issue. Secondly, we do have another school as IFMR, which is working there for 47 years, and they have 100% placements. So that is our sister concern. So, whatever placements and industry tie-ups they have, of course, that comes to CIAS also, School of Interwoven Arts and Sciences also. Thirdly, Sri City in itself comes under a specific economic zone. And, in Sri City, if you Google, you will see it has its own vision, which is largely supported by the Andhra government. And in Sri City, there are 187 companies which have which have come up from 27 countries. So whether you talk about Colgate or I might be forgetting the other names, there are 187 industries there. So and our career service department is very, very active, in having tie-ups with all these industry leaders. So I think placements should not be an issue. And we are preparing them with the skill set also. So in any way, wherever they go for the interview, they are one step ahead of the other people.
No, absolutely. And to add to that, so I think since we've begun, I think you've seen the kind of people that are part of the council at Krea. I think put together, they might own more than 500 companies in India. They represent the corporate of the country, right? Most of them have committed to hiring from Krea. The first, just to give you a feeler, like when they did the social impact internship, I think there were more than about 100 projects that they were presented to, and the students could decide which ones they wanted to apply for. Similar things will happen for their externships when they work with companies and post the third year or the fourth year when they're looking for placements. So it's not like a one size fit all. It depends on what the student wants to do. And the fact that the placements team doesn't come in the last trimester of the last year, but comes in, talks to you in the first year is what should actually give you some assurance that we are looking at where the student wants to go in the future.
So all these are already in place, means planned and programmed, because IFMR is already there. So there would be no differentiation again if my daughter wants to continue the fourth year there at Krea. Correct me if I'm wrong.
So fourth year, sir, is an independent year. Krea students, I think, will get a direct entry because they are students studying at Krea, but others also can also apply to Krea because it's an independent research year. And anybody who's done a 3-year program anywhere in the country could apply to the fourth year. So yes.
Oh, okay. That's how it works. Okay. I didn't know that. So fourth year is another new year, but when they finish the 4 years, it is given as an integrated program in case they want to go abroad and study.
So they get a 3-year degree, which is a BA or a BSc honors, and the fourth year is a postgraduate diploma that they get. So it is equivalent of the 16th year of education that you do. That is the only mechanism that UGC currently allows.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Vikram, if I can just add to what you said, because number one, I'm very closely involved with the placement in the B school. And we have had a track record of 100% placement all these years, which is 20 years now. And this year, again, we've, despite COVID and all that, we've managed to place out of 170 odd students. We've already placed about 110 or 112 so far. That is one. The second part of it is that I had interactions, this is going back about 2 years now, early days of Krea, when I personally spoke to at least about 20-25 companies in India, their chief HR officers, and spoke to them about placement. And they all said that, Ashoka having been around longer, they probably, have had a few people passing out. So they've actually recruited from Ashoka, and the general sense I got was liberal arts kids, they think differently. their abilities are completely different. So they really, go looking for such candidates, because unlike the other humanities subjects, these kids are completely different. And I would probably say, given the kind of faculty that Krea has, probably they'll be one step ahead of the Ashoka kids. So I don't really see placement being a big issue, but the question really is whether they want to go for placement or they want to pursue higher studies. I mean, that's a choice that the kid will have to take during the course of the 4 years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
That's
you so
very
much.
reassuring. Very reassuring. Thank you very,
Thank
very
you. I see your hand, Mr. Singh, so you can rest. We'll just take 2 more questions first, and then I'll come to you. Kanishk, Alok, please go ahead.
Sir, while I do realize that courses at Krea are going to be extremely intensive and rigorous, but my question is, does Krea offer the possibility to pursue a double major or something like convert a minor into a major in the 4th year? Because I've seen you talking about opting for a major and then going in for a minor or multiple concentrations. But what about a double major? Say,
Yeah.
let's say in economics and computer science, something like that. Is there a possibility?
Sure. No, Kanish, that's an important question. So typically, the 3-year degree that we give, you have to be a superman or a superwoman to actually finish 2 majors in 3 years, which is impossible, right? So in 3 years, you can do 1 major, and you get a degree for that according to the UGC guidelines. So with whatever major that is, you get either a BA or a BSc honors. You're also allowed to do 1 minor. Now, suppose you continue to do the 4th year with us. So in the 4th year, you have an option of either doing more courses from your major and doing more research in your major. You can take more courses from your minor and sort of fulfill the requirements for a second major. Or you could take things that are different from your major and minor and study absolutely something else in the 4th year. If you continue to take more subjects from your minor in the 4th year and sort of qualify for a second major, then obviously in terms of our degree granting, you get a BA or a BSc after 3 years, you get a postgraduate diploma after the 4th year, and you would sort of get a letter from the university saying you've done enough subjects to qualify for a second major. Which is something that you can use if you're planning to apply for whatever reason you were looking for a double major. That letter should suffice you if you're applying for universities abroad or for jobs. That's how we actually go around that.
Thanks a lot, sir, because this is something that I have been asking many admissions officers as well. Like, what kind of a possibility is there?
It's actually very tricky, Kanish, because this is not a concept that the UGC is very, I'm sure they're familiar with, but they're not very open about this. But Meenu, did you have anything to add here?
No, I think Vikram, you have touched upon all the points. Double major is actually very, very difficult, and UGC doesn't allow just like that,
Yeah, so we'll make sure that whatever. So Kanishk, when you're applying, especially to universities abroad, they're looking at transcripts. They don't look at really degrees. They want to see in every trimester what are the subjects you've done. So when we give you the transcripts for all the trimester, whichever university, I'm sure you're applying to a good university after Krea, will be able to recognize the kind of work that you've produced in 4 years. So don't be worried about that. Don't be stuck in
also, in the 3rd year, when you will be doing the capstone thesis and you have research opportunities also in all the research centers, so that will add on to your profile when you apply to masters. Yes, Mr.
Yes,
Parimal
Mr.
Ajmer.
Yes, Parimal Ajmer. I don't know whether it's a student or a parent. Yeah.
No. I am actually father of my daughter, Stuti Ajmera. She just be there at Krea in this academic year. Just wanted to understand the food part at the campus. Actually, do students have any say, or do students have any choice? Because we are pure veg, and in veg also we are Jains also.
Correct.
So we have a lot of restriction and so much of things.
I want one of the students to answer this. Meera, are you here? Costa, any student, anybody wants to answer this question about food? Go ahead, Meera.
Yeah, hi. I think the food on campus is pretty home-like, as in you get 3 meals a day plus snacks in the middle. There are vegetarian and non-vegetarian options, and both of those tables are set apart, even for those people who are comfortable with that sort of a setting. And I think then options are available. I think you know you have to talk to some of the admin members at the beginning whenever you enter campus, that is, and their options are available. That's not something you'd have to worry about at all. Students do get a say in the food. So we have our student government bodies creating these sort of committees where students come together and plan out the menus for the next few months, along with the caterers and the admin members and all of that. So students do have a certain amount of agency in sort of talking about the kind of food that they might want to eat. And the menus do undergo change quite often, every couple of months or so. So I mean, yeah, I mean that's the situation.
And one thing I would like to add, once your daughter becomes a part of the Krea family, then every member of the family is taken care of. Don't worry.
Okay. Thank you so much.
We have Jain students who are studying at Krea, so we'll connect you to them. So write to us. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Singh, last question of yours. Please go ahead.
Yeah, the question is, if Manche does two majors, and one happens to be of economics and one happens to be in the sciences, does he get two degrees of BA and BSc?
So, sir, just to reiterate, this double majors are not possible, right? When we say double majors, you get to do one major in your 3 years, right? So, depending upon if it is economics, he gets a BA. If it's in psychology, it is a BSc. Depending on what major he selects, that is the degree that you will get.
Okay.
UGC doesn't allow for a dual degree system in India, right? So you get one degree. But suppose he's done so he's done a psychology, so he gets a BSc honors in psychology after 3 years, but he's also done a minor in say economics, right? And done about 7 subjects. In the 4th year, if he continues with the 4th year and does the rest of the 7 more subjects in economics to qualify for a second major, and that is something that can be given as a letter from the university saying you've done enough subjects to qualify for another major in economics. And the postgraduate diploma that you will get would be additional. So that's how it is.
Understood.
Yes, Nemat Sheikh.
Hello, sir. I had a question. So if I take maths, so I'm a humanities student. So I had maths in 11th and 12th. So if I take maths, so will I get BA in maths or BSc in maths degree?
Math is a sciences, so you will get a BSc in mathematics.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
No problem. And I think we really have to end now. So Kanishk, your last question. I see your hand. Please go ahead.
Sir, my question is that Krea offers a 3-year degree. I mean, if I decide to pursue computer science, it would be a BSc degree in computer science. So the thing is that engineering colleges in India offer a 4-year BTech in computer science. So what's basically the difference, and would we be at a certain disadvantage only looking at computer science? Or I mean, how do you make it out for a 3-year and a 4-year difference?
Kanish, you've asked my favorite question at the end, right? Because I have done computer science, right? So, I won't say you are at an advantage or actually, there are more advantages than a disadvantage because when I studied computer science, it depends on the kind of college also you're going. I'm not generalizing all engineering programs, but generally what is taught in India is that in computer science, depending on what you take, you have hardware, software, you have programming languages, you have microprocessing, app development, web development. Few engineering programs are now started introducing AI and machine learning and deep learning into their curriculums. Versus when you come into a university like Krea, which is a liberal university, right, where you're not dedicating 100% of your education to computer science. What you're doing here is about 40% of your concentration is towards computer science. And you're learning maybe fewer subjects than what an engineering graduate would learn. But your understanding of the subject, your understanding of computer sciences is strong, right? You have learned coding, you have learned the various aspects of becoming a computer science student. But along with that, look at the kind of opportunities that you have versus with something an engineering student wouldn't have. At Krea, just to give an example, you can do computer science and mathematics and really look at machine learning, really look at AI, really look at IoT or whatever other subjects that you are wanting to look, which are many of those are based on mathematical modeling. So that is an option that you have. You have, along with computer science, you can do economics. So suppose you're passionate about consulting or financial technology, which is huge. So here is you are a student who understands computers, but also understands economics and finance to be able to work in that kind of an industry. Along with economics, suppose you're doing psychology. What a brilliant combination, right? Because look at all the tech companies today, whether it's Google, Facebook, Amazon, they're all tech companies. But at the heart of it is human-centric design, right? Human-centric technology. So here, are you a person who understands technology along with how human beings think and behave and act? So you have a lot more that you can do with the computer science degree when you're doing it from a liberal university versus when you do it from a pure technical university. I hope I answered
Vikram,
that
to add
question.
to that, we also have the B School, where if you want to do a quantitative finance, where AI and data analytics and all those things can also be sort of learned. Plus, we are going to be starting one-year program with Northeastern University next June, and that will be primarily on data analytics, quantitative finance. And that, can open your options to various industries, not just across India, but outside as well.
Yeah. Did we answer your question, Kanish?
Thanks a lot, sir. You have sufficiently answered.
Okay. Yes, I see another hand. I'm sorry, but we'll have to, I just want to make sure that we have no more questions. Yes, Mohit, Mr. Mohit.
Yes. Hi, I'm Miti.
Hi, Miti.
So I just wanted to know that I do not have a maths or a science background, and I suck at maths. Like maths is not my thing. So will I get proper support at Krea and be able to understand maths there?
Yes, Meera, come on, answer that question.
Hi. Okay, so we do have a lot of people who have not done math in 11th and 12th. We actually do have a couple of people who dropped math in the 8th grade, right? But the foundation here, you have a mathematical reasoning course, which is mandatory for all students. Along with that, you also have your data analytics course and your scientific reasoning course and all of those sort of courses that will integrate mathematics to some extent. What you don't have to worry about is that we have excellent faculty, right, who will be there to guide you. And all of these foundational courses, whether it's math, whether it's anything, because people have similar concerns about, say, the writing course, right? So any course, you rest assured that you will be taught as if, I mean, everybody will be taught as if they have no mathematical foundation or basis at all, right? And the faculty is very sort of approachable and available to answer your doubts. And if you need extra guidance, then there are people who are available. I know for a fact that the writing program, the writing and oral communications program, for example, had a mentor-mentee system this time, right? Where students of the second year mentored students of the first year who might sort of need that extra guidance from peers instead of professors. So with mathematics, you are not the only one. There have been people before you, there will be people after you, there will 100% be people in your own batch who would have no exposure to mathematics, but they will all be taken care of. Actually, we were even told in the mathematics major orientation that even if you have no basis for mathematics, come and join the major if you want to, right? Because you essentially have to unlearn school mathematics in order to relearn university level mathematics. So as long as you're able to push yourself a little bit, you should be fine.
Also, Iti, don't relate maths only with trigonometry or integration and differentiation. Maths it's more about promoting and facilitating the computational thinking. And when we are saying data is becoming the language of the 21st century, there is some maths involved, but maths is not only vectors and trigonometry, or 3D, so don't worry about that.
So basically, it has nothing to do with school learning or stuff. It's completely new. You build a new foundation.
Yes,
yeah, I mean,
you'll be able to learn.
Sorry. As long as you know how to add and subtract, you'll be fine.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a query, please.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, this is just in continuation to the earlier question. So the same thing would apply for all subjects. Even if the child has no computer knowledge, the child can pursue even a major in that subject. You mean to say that flexibility is available to the child?
Yes, possible. As I said, I mean, if the students require any sort of support, there are bridge programs that are taught. So there's a tech literacy course that ran for 2 weeks. There was a quant course that ran for 2 weeks before even the term started. So admissions team would identify if anybody needs support and they do that. And there are also, there's a writing center at Krea, which is headed by Dr. Ananya Das Gupta. And that has about 5 or 6 faculty members who are there to support you in your writing and communication. There's a quant support lab. So those are all support structures that are available on the campus, and students can avail of those.
Vikram, shall I add to that?
And one more.
Yes, please, Kaustuv. Yeah.
So I was part of the writing for pedagogy tutorship thing that we had for our first year students. So people who struggle with writing. We were second year students who did the WOC course. That's one of the skill courses that you would be doing in your first year. We ended up tutoring these students who needed some extra help and some extra support. And while that was a work study program, which I'm not sure, can I talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be available for everyone. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So work study programs are basically something that you can do on campus, usually helping build the campus in a certain way, and you get paid for it. I mean, what's not to like about that? You get to have pride in your work as well as some compensation for your time and effort. So last trimester, along with our classes, I, along with I think 7 other students, helped tutor other students from our junior batch who had issues with writing, and some people are very good at writing, but they just wanted some extra help. They wanted another set of eyes. Similarly, I believe we might have similar support groups at Krea. I know for a fact that in our own first year, we had groups that we formed within our own batch, where people who understood a subject little more better than others, they would band together and teach it to people who wanted it. And I think that should not be an issue at all at Krea. As in, if you have difficulties with any subject, don't worry about it. Faculty are just as approachable as students are.
Thank you.
Also, I'd very quickly like to add, don't come into Krea with any preconceived notions of this is what I've done in school, so that this is what I have to do at Krea, right? I did my 12th grade ISC science, right? My subjects were physics, chemistry, physics, chemistry, math, and computer science. I am now majoring in history and politics, right? Absolutely no connection, but I'm loving what I do. So that's exactly why you have the foundational year to explore your options. So just a general word of advice, don't come in with these preconceived notions, just sort of dive into whatever Krea has to offer. Yeah.
I should also add that I did not do biology in my 11th and 12th. My biology education ended at 10th, and I did the Cambridge at 10th. I did the IB in the 11th and 12th, but no biology. And yet I'm majoring in biology right now. So that's that.
Thank you. And Roshan, the last question, please. Yes, go ahead. Roshan Manoj.
Hi, I'm Roshan's mother here. Yes. It is indeed my privilege to talk about the facility that I've seen. So last year in December, I happened to visit your campus as part of my official work. So we were there to give a talk on blockchain, and very impressive. At that point, I didn't know that my son would get shortlisted and this admission would go through. So I did have the privilege of meeting Mr. Chidambaram as well. So really excited that this is all falling in place. My question was more around, on the other side of the question that was asked, saying I had no, major background in a stream like math, and how do I cope up? My question is on the other side, for, let's say, students are really good at a subject. In their first year, do they get to choose the, difficulty levels in terms of what they want to pick? So that, let's say, if I want to anyway major in math, and do I get to start doing more work during my first year?
Yeah, no, I think that's a valid question as well, because we get students from all kinds of backgrounds. So ma'am, there is actually, it's not that the first year is more difficult or less difficult than what they studied in class 11th and 12th. It's a different sort of a learning experience. It is very well curated and thought after because of the kind of learning outcomes that we expect from each course, right? So for example, even when you have literature, literature that is taught at the university level is very different from what a student might have studied in like, for example, math, right? Now, we might have students who've done math in 11th and 12th, but here in the math class, you have somebody like Rishi who's also bringing in a component of ethics into mathematics, or biology into mathematics, or data into mathematics, which doesn't happen at school level. So all these courses that the student is expected to do are required courses, because we want everybody to have that foundation. So when it brings everybody, it treats everybody equally, indifferent to what backgrounds they've come from, but the learning outcomes expected out of everybody are sort of the same, right? And students, if you wanted to add more to this, Meera, having done the first year, like, what do you have to say?
I think the foundational year is mandatory for all students, and there's a good reason for that, because number one, the transition from school to university takes a little time to happen. But if any particular student is super interested in a particular subject, they can always approach the faculty, or we have students who create sort of their own groups and discuss certain things or take on certain projects. So part one of the answer would be that the foundational year should be taken to explore more than just what one feels like they're interested in from the beginning itself, to explore parts of student life and get settled into university life, but also approach faculty, approach people, approach industry experts who come to talk to us, and take on these opportunities for themselves. Because in the summer, you have these summer school opportunities, you have research projects, you have work study opportunities. So I think it will, to some extent, be up to the student to decide who to approach, and you will get a lot of work and a lot of help from whoever you do decide to approach eventually.
Thank you, Meera. And I think we have to end here. We've almost stretched this by 1 hour. Thank you so much for actually being a part of this. Thank you to all the parents, and very, very hearty congratulations again for making it into Krea. I wish you a very, very happy holidays and happy new year. And do reach out to us if you want to visit the campus, if you want to have a session with Meenu. We will send you that email, so please book your slots. And thank you all the students for being here. In fact, to all the parents, if you want to connect to any of our current students, there is a page on the website which is dedicated to student ambassadors. You can actually get the email IDs from the website and write to them if you wish to connect to any of them. So thank you so much, and have a great holiday season. Take care.
Thank you so much, parents.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.